With I to E, flow, and time. All right? Those are so interrelated, and you need to be on top of that interrelationship mathematically. You need to know that. That needs to be not, you can't pull out a paper and pencil and calculate and think about it. It needs to be in there. It truly needs to be in there. So now I got my I time squared away. Okay? And now I come down, this has all been set up already. I'm happy with that. Now I've got my, I want to play a little bit more with my time. What's T pause?
Plateau.
That's my plateau. That's my inspiratory hold, right? Remember, PIP, plateau. So there's two pressures, right? The PIP and the plateau. PIP is the amount of pressure to push it in, right? Plateau is the amount of pressure to hold it in. Push it, hold it. Push it, hold it. Very interesting part of compliance and resistance. Right now we're thinking of our ventilatory settings against the pulmonary mechanics of the lung that we're ventilating, right? Because that lung, especially a diseased lung, is going to have situations, pulmonary mechanics, that oppose my ventilation, right? This guy's sick. He's got airway problems. He's got asthma. This guy's sick. He's got ARDS. He's got compliance issues. They're sick, you know? And these forces are working against my breath. And they're going to manifest themselves with, what's the variable with volume? Pressure. What's the variable with pressure? Volume. Right? That's why I think anyone that says pressure's better than volume is stupid. Okay? As they say, my relatives would say, "Stu not." Okay. So there you go. I'm going to get rid of that because a lot of people don't like that. And I've used it as a ventilatory mode, only to come in the next day and find out the other person took it off because it's not supposed to be there. I said, show me the law that says it's not supposed to be there. Okay? Well, it just doesn't. Okay, another genius. All right, moving right down the line. We have T inspiratory rise. All right? That pressure is going to, and that volume is going to manifest itself sometimes a little bit too quickly, offering too much turbulence that might be uncomfortable to your patient. Okay? So you can retard that inspiratory flow a little bit and kind of make that rise a little bit more gentle on the patient for patient tolerance. I always call this a patient tolerance. All right? So now we got the second row down. And I'm going to go with 5. 5 is the default. So I have a 1:2 IDE ratio. I took off my inspiratory pause, and what happened? Changed my I time, right? So I got to adjust that again. I want to get back to 1 second. And there's a perfect 1 second. Okay? 1 to 4, right? Rate of 12, how long is my cycle time?
5.
5 seconds, right? So if it's 1 to 4, that works out perfect. 1 second in, 4 seconds out. I've got a real nice volume control, 1 second I time, a flow of 31. It is perfect. It is nice and clear to me. I've got something I can live with here. Trigger flow. All right, now I have to set the patient up so that the machine communicates with the patient and the patient communicates with the machine, right? These are sensitive machines. You don't want your patient breathing out of sync. The difference between the Bennett's and the Servo is that there is a bias flow, a baseline flow. That flow is 8 liters a minute. Okay? So at all times, there's 8 liters a minute going through the circuit. Okay? Now the machine is going to sense a drop in that flow. Why would there be a drop in that flow? That 8 liters going around the circuit, it's exhalation time, right? It's during that 4 seconds, and it's going around and around. All of a sudden that flow drops. Why?
Pressure.
Pressure.
Yeah.
Well, but something is happening, an event, a magic and wonderful event. the patient is initiating the breath. The patient is starting to breathe on their own, right? And they're starting to pull flow out of that 8 liters, right? And I'm trying to set my sensitivity. I want my machine to know that, right? If my machine doesn't know that, the patient's going to be starting a breath, and after that 8 liters, is a normal inspiratory breath 8 liters? Right? That'd be a pretty small breath, right? 8 liters a minute. What's the normal inspiratory flow?
450.
For a normal resting person, 5'10", 150-pound, 21-year-old male. 30 liters a minute. Okay? So that ain't going to cover it, right? So they start pulling that flow out, so it drops 8, 7, 6, and then it hits 5. And the machine knows that there's only 5 liters a minute going through my circuit. There must be, right? Does the machine look at the patient and say, no. There must be, what? A triggering attempt. Okay, my patient is attempting a trigger. Now, in the volume control mode, what will the machine do to accommodate that triggering event? It's going to do something.
Allow the patient to breathe, or allow the patient to take that spontaneous breath by...
They're going to take it's volume control. Is it going to be a spontaneous breath? What's the breath going to look like? What do you expect? It's going to be an assisted breath, okay? Because another name for volume control when the sensitivity is working is called assist control. Great mode, right? But now, what will the machine do to accommodate that triggering event?
Deliver a breath for 1 second.
Deliver a breath for 1 second.
At a flow
450.
Flow of
It's up there.
30 liters a minute.
30 each.
At time
Volume
450. It's going to deliver the programmed in breath. Is everybody 100% crystal clear, right? Are you clear, Colonel? Right? Crystal clear. All right, so I got my machine set up. I'm a happy guy. It ventilates my little bag just fine. Okay?
May I ask a question about
Yes,
the
sir.
trigger? So you're saying you're taking the 8 liters by its flow, subtracting the 5, so it's got to drop by 3.
It's got to drop by 3.
Okay, so if you set it at 8,
Then the thing's just going to be...
okay, so, and is that
Things
the
gonna be
highest
going
setting?
crazy.
8 would be the highest on this machine? You can't go higher than that.
I probably, once you get past 5,
Pressure?
6, you can put it on 6, but look at 7. It gives you a red line. Okay? And
Okay.
so, stay within the green.
And if you
Okay?
go below,
6 is the
pressure
most
trigger.
sensitive. Now I'm making it less sensitive. Okay? More flow needs to be evacuated from the machine in order to tell the machine that a triggering event has taken place. Does that make sense? When you set the Bennett's, the 840 on 3, that means that's the same as 5 on this machine, okay? Because that means that machine is sensing 3 being taken out. This machine says drop to 5, drop from 8 to 5. All right? A little bit of different nomenclature, a little bit of a difference, but it's the same thing. It's a little different. It's the same thing, a little looks different. You first, you second.
So then what happens when, how low can you go on that? Can't you go into the
Oh, you can go into the pressure.
Big pressure.
Now, I've got it on a trigger of -2. Is that flow sensitivity anymore?
Pressure.
No, that's pressure sensitivity.
Now we've stopped all of the flow and we're drawing it back.
There's
pressure.
no flow, and when the patient pulls the stagnant air out of the circuit and the pressure drops by 2,
Okay.
that's a triggering event. This is pressure
Okay. That makes
triggering as opposed to flow
Right.
triggering. Again, everybody, great question.
That was my question for the pressure trigger. What is the highest that you can go?
The highest.
Or the
Well, it's a
lowest,
negative number.
The most negative, I guess.
Well, that depends. When you get to the little guys and they have uncuffed endotracheal tubes, you got leaks, you're going to find yourself going crazy. Because is it the leak? Is it real or is it Memorex? They still do that commercial? Okay. Is it the leak? Is it the patient? And you're going to find a lot of the triggering to be, you have to make multiple adjustments during even a shift to try to get your patient triggering the same way. It becomes difficult. So if you don't understand triggering, you're going to be dead in the water. Because you're not going to understand that your patient's not triggering. You might be self-cycling, or your patient might be struggling to beat the band to get a break. Somewhere in between is happiness, right?
And how low can you dial that?
Well, you can go down and make it, Godzilla.